Welcome to an Oasis podcast. We're back after a month. It's starting to become a monthly podcast instead of a weekly podcast. Um, but so what? You know, episode 5, didn't think we'd get here. But anyway, regardless of that, I'd like to introduce you to Devil himself.
Um, Fuck, man. What did I say? I
Just
was like,
talk
wait,
about
do I
yourself,
say I'm
bro.
Devil? All right, yeah. My name's Declan. I'm also known as DevilFUT online, and
Mm-hmm.
I'm a graphic designer for Team Esports as of right now.
Nice. Cool. So tell us a bit more about yourself, like how you got into gaming.
I mean, I got into gaming at a pretty young age. I feel like everybody did.
Hmm.
Um, it was, you come home from school, you need something to do. It was far
Yeah.
more appealing to jump on a PlayStation or an Xbox and play games rather than read a book or do your homework.
True.
I feel like that could be a lot of people's answers.
Hmm.
I think my go-to game or the first game that really got me into gaming was Skate 3 on the PlayStation 3. There was honestly, I've watched so many YouTube videos on it, and I was just trying to you know become one of the best sort of skateboarders at the game.
Ooh.
Um, but that was the game that really started me off, and
Hmm.
then from there it was just I'm gonna add to my collection. I'm gonna upgrade the
Yeah.
console over time, and I feel that's where it sort of started.
Hmm.
And that was obviously years ago. The PlayStation 3 is a very outdated
Hmm.
console.
It's a good console though.
Oh
It's a
yeah, it
very good
is. It is.
console.
It's a very good console.
Classic. I had one myself. I
What was
think
your
a
favorite
lot of people
game on
did,
the
but
PS?
yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, no, 100%. It was one of the
Hmm.
more popular ones. Obviously, there's always the Xbox versus PlayStation debate. Honestly,
I
I
think the
think I was more of a
PS3 was
PlayStation.
better than the 360, personally.
Yeah, I think definitely I'd choose the PS3 over the Xbox. 'Cause, I mean, even
Hmm.
now, I'd still say the PS4 over the Xbox One, but that's obviously that's up for debate, I suppose, because it's all preference.
Yeah, this is true. Um. Anyway, moving on from the gaming section, we know you stream a little bit. So tell us,
hmm
how did you get into FPS gaming?
Oh well, I mean, it was obviously taking inspiration off of other streamers,
Hmm.
and I didn't really find a lot of joy in peaceful gaming. I mean, occasionally I'd
Yeah.
stream something like Minecraft. It's more like strategy and survival and stuff, but it was always more of a like a thrill playing, the first person shooters. The Fortnite when it was in its prime was something else. Obviously, if you're going to
Hmm.
stream though, one of the main problems I encountered was trying to stream and game at the same time. If you've not got a good like PC, then it's
Hmm.
very difficult to do. You know.
Mine was always
Um.
the internet. That was always
Ah,
my
yeah, yeah.
issue.
See like the memory
Yeah.
in your PC or the graphics card you have, or it's just bad internet couldn't
Hmm.
connect.
Yeah, the thing is about internet connection is in some areas you're just screwed because
Yeah,
at least with
yeah, yeah.
hardware, right, you can just upgrade it. But with
hmm
like internet connection, you're just fucked if you live in an area that has like bad service or something.
I mean,
But yeah.
I've got a decent internet connection, but the
Hmm.
bedroom that I'm in this house is like a black hole for trying to connect to anything. It's like the service is just you can't get any service in this room in particular. Everywhere else around the house is
Hmm.
fine,
Do
but
you have
I can't really do
Ethernet
much.
connection?
Yeah, yeah, I've got an Ethernet connection in the back of my
Nice.
PC.
Hmm. You could
We
try
recently
maybe
set
a
up
Wi-Fi
the
repeater. That might fix it.
yeah we recently set up the router, the internet
Oh.
connection
Cool.
behind my PC, so it can't get any closer. So I
Oh
don't
my
think I'm gonna
god.
get any more.
Hmm.
There's no way I'll get any better connection than what I've got.
Bro, I feel your pain, man. I have like almost the same thing in my room as well. So, yeah, that's honestly mad. But yeah, internet issues can be. What company? What company?
Uh, BT.
Okay.
It's BT. I know that obviously I don't know whether BT is something that any players like would like. Obviously, depends who this podcast reaches. I think BT is that not just
It
you?
reaches quite a variety.
Yeah.
We're top 125 in New Zealand. So,
Ah.
hmm. Thank you, Spoonsy, for watching it 125 times. But um, anyway. Oh yeah. By the way, Spoonsy was episode 2. That was a good episode as well. But yeah,
Spoonsy's the man. Spoonsy's.
he's absolute
I've
legend,
spoke to
man.
him. I've spoke to him a few
Absolute
times.
legend.
He's so chill.
Hmm. But yeah. Um. Anyway, more over from the FPS gaming. We're now going to focus into the editing segment.
Oh.
How did you get into editing? How long have you been editing? Tell us.
Oh. Oh. Okay. Let's just go back a little bit. Uh,
Hmm.
the graphic design started in specifically 2014.
Okay.
If you want a year, it's 2014,
Hmm.
and that came as like a like it was a hobby. It was
Yeah.
something I could do. I could sort of just get away from everything in real life. Kind of what I said about like when you come home from school and you need to just kind of take your mind off things, so you'll go and game.
Hmm.
It's now yeah at this point. What was I like 12? I was 12 years old. Like trying to go for high school. I just moved to Scotland in 2014, and I started in a high school, and there was so much going on. It was just like I need to focus all my, you know, I need to
Yeah.
just focus everything onto something, and that's how I started graphic design. I was so inspired by one design that I seen on Instagram,
Hmm.
believe it or not, and from there it was like I'm just gonna keep watching hours and hours worth of YouTube videos and become, you know, the
Did you
become
start on
someone who
phone
can do that.
or PC at the start?
It was a laptop.
Oh.
Um,
Okay.
I had a little laptop, and it could only just run Photoshop
Hmm.
CS6, I think it was.
Okay.
Um, from there, obviously, I kind of made my name from FIFA editing. FIFA, obviously, like the game. Uh, that's where it started. I started on Instagram. Since then, like my
Hmm.
account's no longer in use. Like I don't use Instagram. I don't do the FIFA edits anymore. But hence the name DevilFUT. The devil was the I just want
Okay.
to kind of put an emoji beside my name, you know? That
Hmm.
way, like, everybody, like, picks that out, like, of the keyboard. It's their emoji for your name, essentially.
Yeah.
And the FUT, meaning FIFA Ultimate Team, which I get a lot of shit
Oh.
for. Yeah.
Okay. I
I get a
never knew
lot
that.
of shit for that. Um, but that's where it started. It started on FIFA editing. I was like, it's
Hmm.
like DevilFoot on Instagram, and I
I
made all
always
these,
thought that
like,
was a
football
placeholder.
edits. Yeah.
Hmm.
Um, but that's where it started. That was like 2014 onwards. I don't know when I stopped the whole FIFA editing thing and started focusing more on, using Blender, because that's a whole different software. Obviously you need to use Blender for certain aspects of designing,
Hmm.
but I'd like to say that the designing started as an escape from
Okay.
everything that was kind of happening in real life. It was sort of a good getaway, and you were
Hmm.
being productive. You were making something that was
This is true.
visually appealing to kind of look at.
This reminds me of Spoonsy's story because he has this very similar story. He tells a
Mhm.
story about how he kind of like escaped depression and how
Yeah,
he found his love for editing, and now that's his job.
That's
So,
that's that's it's nice to hear that, because I feel me and Sprinsy could probably relate on similar aspects of our stories.
mm,
It's obviously it's difficult going through, mental health and stuff like that. If you have bad days, it's obviously that's one thing that isn't talked about a lot is, how to deal with mental health. You don't get taught the essentials in school. You get taught things that you will
exactly.
never
You
need.
get taught
You know,
jackal, man. You know what I mean?
exactly. You get taught literally nothing that can help you in the future.
Mm,
Like, I mean, that's a bold statement, but like, I mean, you're never
it's
gonna
true.
need algebra in half the jobs you could, want to pursue.
Exactly.
I feel like maybe going through school, it's better to talk about finances and taxes and things that are very common problems. but don't get enough attention. And obviously, with
Mm,
both me and Spoonsy now being on this podcast, talking about how we
yeah.
found, a passion for doing designs and stuff as an escape from depression or mental health problems or stuff like that. That's nice to hear because it means I'm not alone. I
Mm,
wasn't the only one going through that at the time. You know,
mm, yeah.
it's obviously sucks that it happens, but it's good that something good came out of that.
Yeah, I could imagine. And it's just nice, that you have someone to relate to in the community.
Yeah.
It's always nice to have someone relate. Um, yeah, editing. So quite a long time on Photoshop. I can tell your skills on there are
Yeah,
quite high. What
it's
about
it's taken
Blender?
years.
Do you mention Blender?
Blender, yeah, Blender's obviously. I don't know. I feel like I've maybe invested more time into Photoshop than I have Blender.
Hmm.
I've still learned quite a bit about Blender to be able to obviously have the position I have into IM Esports
Mm-hmm.
doing like thumbnails and stuff.
Yeah.
Um, I've still learned a lot. There's still plenty more I can learn, and I say the same with Photoshop. Given you've got years of experience, you know, learning Photoshop inside and out, you still always have something to learn, and that's what's fun about doing stuff like this is you can still figure out what you don't know, and then become better at what you do.
Would you say this is a dream job?
I mean, it's definitely something
Hmm? Good.
very overwhelming, and that goes for any job. You know, um, I
You
do.
cut
I,
out for
I
a
I have a
second.
passion for design
You cut
more
out
than
for a
I have a
second.
passion for everything else.
For a second, you cut out, bro. Can you repeat
I
the?
apologize. I apologize. Wait, where was
Um, you were just about to tell us.
I? I was. Wait. What was the question again?
That is a good point. That is a good point.
Fuck, man.
um, let's move on to another question.
Okay, okay.
When did you get your first PC?
This was. Oh Jesus, this was Christmas, maybe 3, 4 years ago. Uh, the PC that I've got now is it was like a Christmas gift, maybe 3 or 4 years ago. Um, I want to say 3 years ago, so that's what 2019, I
Hmm.
think. Um,
Okay.
so around this time, probably around
Hmm.
you know this time 3 years ago.
Hmm. So you've had quite a good spec machine to practice.
Yeah, yeah,
That's nice.
that
It's always
is
good to
that
have
is
that.
crucial. Mhm.
Yeah. So you have a good setup. I take it. Nice peripherals.
Yeah, I have a
Hmm.
setup that can do what I needed to do. Um,
Hmm.
it is good. I have obviously added to that since I got the PC.
Yeah.
I can't lie, it costs quite a lot to upgrade. I've seen.
Hmm. It's getting worse now as well.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, I'm
Hmm.
still like specs wise, my GPU is still a 1060, and I've seen like the 3090, 4090 now. It's crazy prices.
Did you know you're the first person on the podcast to be in the UK? It's about fucking time. Honestly,
Really?
man. Yeah, man.
Nice. And first Scottish person as well.
Yep.
Hell yeah, man.
Both, man. Nailed it. But yeah, back to the podcast. You know the esports kind of journey because we know you've been on 2am and
Yeah.
you're still on there. But
Mhm.
what about have you been on any other teams?
Not major teams.
Hmm.
Not like major big name teams. I was like in a smaller group, but that wasn't like anybody really. nobody really knew who they were. I just kind of joined because there's like a little community,
Okay.
and obviously the first sort of big team was 2 a.m. Esports,
Hmm.
which obviously that's obviously a big topic um
Yes. And
in
moving on
itself.
to that.
That's a big topic.
So tell us, how did you find out about 2am?
So I mean, this was actually this was a chain of connections. I was I wasn't in a team at the time, um, but I was doing designs for a friend of mine, Dom Fishy. Uh,
Okay.
I was doing his thumbnails, I was doing his YouTube shorts. You know, I
Mm.
was helping him out, and then obviously took a step back from all that. But he tagged me in uh a tweet. It was Trey's tweet, Trey509.
Mm-hmm.
Trey
Yep.
was looking for a placement thumbnail, and I got tagged. And don't get me wrong, I was very nervous because there's
Mm.
still times I see like, can I actually do this? Like, what I do, I don't want to underperform and not deliver like a good piece
Yeah,
of
it's the
work.
pressure. Get that.
Yeah. And obviously I got tagged in that, and I contacted Trey, and I ended up doing a thumbnail for him. And
Mm-hmm.
I said to him, you know, I can get it done. You know, he said, I think he said something like 10 hours, or something. He had like a time thing, and I think I got it
Mm.
done within maybe an hour, 2 hours tops.
Ooh.
And it
Impressive.
was good looks because a lot that's a very important thing is timing.
Yeah.
And I feel like that fast response was maybe what helped push it as well. But I got back to Dom. Obviously he vouched me to do the thumbnail, and he was he was so gassed for me, honestly.
Mm.
And then obviously Jeff approached me uh to take on a design role for 2 a.m.
When
Because
was
obviously
this?
Trey was part of 2 a.m. at the time. Obviously he's not anymore.
When was this?
This was, oh Jesus, this was earlier in the year. This was maybe June, July.
Okay. Okay.
Um, but Jeff approached me. He
Mm-hmm.
messaged me on Twitter.
Yeah.
After that, obviously doing a thumbnail for Trey, and Trey's on the team, then that
Mm.
obviously will sort of help get your
Yeah.
name out there, I suppose. But that's how that started, and then after that, I you know ended up joining 2 a.m. Just because I obviously made that thumbnail.
Mm.
That's how that all sort of came around. Because if not, I would have never found 2 a.m. I don't think.
Mm.
Even more
Well,
so
you seem to have a
being
lot of
in the
the
EU.
seem to have a lot of NA friends.
Yeah, yeah, especially now after doing that,
Yeah, I
because
can
there
imagine.
was there was commissions, you
Yeah.
know, there was commissions like before joining 2 a.m. You know, Dom and Nathan
Mm.
Snacks as well. There's certain people that I met through Dom, and it again, you meet people through people, and that expands your audience and your, you know, the people you meet. Um,
Yep.
there was quite a few, there was quite a lot of people I met that was in NA before joining 2 a.m. and then even more so afterwards.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And do you know how I found about 2am?
How?
Okay. So I was one of his team. Well, the team. It doesn't exist anymore, but it's named after the podcast, Team Oasis. And
Ah,
I got a message from Jeff, and this was in between 2am, um, the first version of it and the second version.
hmm,
So Jeff wasn't on the team. And Jeff came up to me and he wanted to join the team if I paid him a certain amount. At the time, I couldn't give that amount, and eventually, what's it called? He wanted the money up front, and I didn't really want to do that at the start. But
yeah,
he messaged me, and then we came to a deal. But in the end, we decided, not to. Well, at least the management at the time decided not to
Mhm.
because we had like a whole group discussion about it. And I mean, I wanted him on the team, but yeah, regardless of that, we almost joined the team in a sense. He was his job was going to be like some kind of like corporate position where he would help the team grow, but it never happened in the end. And then um we have some drama that happened after that, and Jeff didn't really care, so that's cool. And he messages me and he goes, "Do you want to join the team?" And I go, "Sure." Well, at first I was a bit like, do I really want to join another team? But he assured me I could keep the podcast going, so I
Ah,
kept that side of it going. And yeah, I was basically paying 2 a.m. at the same time, but yeah,
I mean,
I
I
was
remember.
kind of an investor, but not really.
Mhm. I remember briefly. It was obviously again. I was really nervous the first time I joined, and I was on like a Discord
Mm,
call. You were there. There's so many people in those calls as well.
this is
Even
true.
people that obviously aren't like there right now. I think I remember I spoke to Fury uh at the time as well. There's so many people in that call, and I remember being put in a group chat with you as well. Obviously, I've heard a lot of
Mm,
things whilst I've been in 2 a.m. I've heard of
yeah.
Jeff was in Extra and how Extra
Mm,
ended, and he was like on Keemstar's
yeah, that was wild.
stuff. That was all crazy, and obviously
Mm,
that was like that whole situation was crazy. I heard of all that, and obviously I didn't know obviously like that he could have been obviously part of Oasis, and you know,
yeah,
but like that I suppose that's the part you don't hear about because you only hear about stuff from when you've joined. You
exactly.
know, when you're a part
Yeah.
of it, there's always a history.
Mm,
But no, that's wild. I do
alternate
remember
timeline, man.
replaying though.
Oasis
Yeah,
Jeff.
that would have been revolutionary.
mm. Time traveler moves a chair. But yeah. Um. Good. What was I gonna say? I had a question. For fuck's sake. Um. Second. I think it's really fucked up that people are bringing up Jeff's past for like 2 a.m.
Yeah, yeah, that
It's
was
like the
another thing
sexual
I
assault
mentioned.
story, man. Like it's actually disgusting, man.
It's
Yeah.
that was one thing that I felt that was not that it didn't need to be mentioned, not to like so much detail, but I find I find the audacity of some of the people in the community that are bringing down 2 a.m. and the people that are guilty for doing things. Don't get me wrong, 2 a.m. is not perfect, you know, and I'm saying that
Of course. But
myself,
here's
you
the
know,
thing,
and
like
nothing is perfect, you
these
know.
people, like, are not good people either. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to get at, you know, and I know that people have a history and you know things happen.
Mm.
I mean, everybody sort of you know does questionable things, and it doesn't exactly.
Here's the
Uh,
thing, Mike. Here's the thing. Like, there were a lot of people who got kicked on 2am rightfully. I really
yeah.
believe so. A lot of people were not putting a lot of effort in. And I saw the same thing when I started recruiting some of them to Oasis. Because I
Mhm.
recruited some of them because I thought, maybe I could see, what these people are like and recruit them to my team after I left 2am. And take, I don't want to like throw shade at anyone, but Nar, for example, he complains on Twitter like 24/7, right, about 2am, right? But I'm not being, I'm not being rude or anything, but he does. That's the only thing he does, and no org's gonna want to recruit someone who's literally just shitting on the org 24/7. No one wants to see that
I
negativity
have
on the
noticed that.
timeline.
Yeah, I have noticed that, and I guess he's not the only one. You know, there is people, and I try
Katsu,
and see this as well.
yep,
I try
so
and
many
see
people.
try and see stuff. You
Mm.
know, um, I mean, I was I think I put out a different Twitter long ago.
Hmm. I've seen this
Um,
one, but yeah.
I put out a different Twitter longer a little while ago, uh, that pretty much said, and it was because I was, approached by, I think it was Jeff. It might have been Subway. I'm not too sure. Pretty
Mhm.
much, it was saying I'm still interacting with people that were in the 2 a.m. and now talk shit about 2 a.m. And
Yeah.
I think I'm trying to be, and you're a good example as well. You're trying to be the middleman, trying to be in between. Um,
Hmm. The thing is, like,
uh,
I can relate to Jeff because I've had my own team autonomy as well. Okay,
yeah,
so I can kind of relate to the whole 2 a.m. situation. Whenever I see like people rebelling, bro, the flashbacks, man. Okay, listen, Team Oasis documentary. You'll hear the rest of the story in February.
mm,
Probably a bad idea to make that story, but I will make that. But back to that fact, it's really, I don't know. Problem is, I made this reply earlier on Twitter to these people, and now I was like, oh, who said he was perfect? But the thing is, they act so perfect, and the reason why they act so perfect is no one calls them out on their behavior because they're not
yeah.
big enough to be called out on their
That
behavior.
that's what I was saying as well. People do things, and with someone like, and obviously I'm bringing up a past again. It doesn't need to be brought up, but Jeff was caught out before, and there was a clip going on very early on to after I joined of Jeff saying the R word. It's a very,
Hmm.
very wrong word, shouldn't be said, but
The thing is, he went through sensitivity training.
yeah.
So
But
that's the problem that
he went through
people
training for
need to
that.
stop. Like,
Um, People bringing it up though, and I didn't know how to summarize this in the Twitter longer. People bringing that stuff up, like how he said the R word.
yeah,
It's those, like, I dare say there's still a fair majority of those people, because they're young, they still make those mistakes if they've not said it themselves.
exactly.
But because they've not been caught out for it and they don't have the audience that Jeff has, they're not gonna, it's
They're
like
not gonna learn.
they never said it. They know they said it, but nobody else knows they said it. So it's fine if they bring someone else down for saying it, even though he's had that sensitivity training.
Thing is,
There's,
these people, they thrive on taking people down. It makes them feel powerful. It really
oh yeah,
does.
no, no,
It's
100%.
really scary. Really scary. Because I'm sure we've all been in those shoes where, well, I'm kind of guilty of this because I've taken people down before. I'm sure everyone has joined in before. And but once it happens to you, you realize how bad it is. You know,
Hmm.
you
Yeah.
really realize the effects. And this is why I don't take people down anymore. But regardless of that, it's really destroys a person inside and out. Like
Hmm.
the
I mean,
effects, like you
the
can't
internet.
sleep. It's so
I've
many.
always said it. The internet, social media is also toxic because you know I feel like people have gotten far too comfortable saying things behind a screen.
True.
They just don't know what, like, this generation, gets so comfortable talking shit behind a screen. It's, maybe like 12 to 15, 16-year-olds or something. They're all bad mouthing behind a screen. When if I was to do that when I was growing up, and I was like, I grew up in a very,
Okay.
is it a suburban area? People would probably punch me in the mouth for saying something like what these kids say nowadays.
Exactly, man. It's mad.
It's wild. And because social media, you can't really do anything. It's all online. It's all part of cyberbullying, you know?
Another
It's,
thing that's wrong with the internet, and that's most people are guilty before innocent.
yeah.
I think that's really fucked because the internet has become like a court, and it doesn't make any sense. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
People could just pit anything against you. People will believe it
Yeah,
if
there's
you
never,
talk
there's,
shit
there's always
enough.
people that follow,
Yeah,
people follow what someone says. And because maybe they like the person, maybe they're a fan of the person, it makes it believable. And it's just influencing, pretty much accusations without evidence, and that's very dangerous. Like, if it's a serious accusation, because that's not only just bringing down someone's reputation, but that's especially if there's no evidence there, it's gonna ruin someone's name whilst
This is
they're
true.
trying to make something of it. I feel like that's a fair way to summarize the internet and social media is just everybody's all in one space. You know, there's accusations being thrown. There's so much hate, so much negativity, unnecessary toxicity. It's very damaging to be online.
And how has it been being in 2am this past week?
I mean, you've seen the timeline, you've
I
seen
have.
everything that's come up, and part of my statement that I wrote before coming on here was, you know, yes, what was said is wrong, and Subway is, guilty of that. I'm not gonna defend someone because I'm part of a team with them or because I'm being paid. If the fact is
Like that.
there, you know, just let it be known. I don't get me wrong. I love Subway and Jeff. Though honestly, I know
Mm.
they've got questionable pasts, and I know there's still
Yeah.
stuff going on for people to hate them.
Mm-hmm.
But it's hard to still, defend someone you care about. And I think I put this at the end of that statement as well. Is if you've got a loved one, for example, who's guilty of a crime, yeah, you know that they are guilty, and you know that they done wrong. But it's also the fact that they're still part of your family. Um, it's hard to be in the middle, support someone that done something bad, and I think Subway definitely knows that he's maybe overstepped, pissed off the community, and it's not a good look for 2 a.m., especially considering he was management in 2 a.m. and supposed to keep things professional. I even said this to Jeff as well. If something's not right, I'll bring it up to Jeff. I'll say, this isn't right. It's not. I don't think it's how it should be dealt with. And that's one thing that a lot of people hate about me is the honesty.
Speak
But
the
I'd
truth.
rather,
And I like
yeah,
that. Need
I
more
think
people
I'd
like that.
much
Less
rather
fake
if it,
people.
yeah, 100%, 100%. I think if it was me, the way I see it is I'd rather be hurt by the truth than be comforted by a lie, and that's why I try and just say it how I've got it rather than stumble over my words and make it sound
Yeah.
like it's easier to hear rather than,
See, that's what separates you from other people. Unlike a few other people I've known, like a lot of people will just try to not care. But sometimes caring is probably the best thing you can do in the
mhm,
end.
yeah.
It's quite important to have that. So I do agree.
I mean,
It's nice to have your an
this
opinion.
last week on 2 a.m. has been absolute chaos. People try and play it off cool, and I kind of do think that it's affecting some members just
Mm,
because some of the members have built up their name and their reputation, and they're doing well for themselves, and that's what makes a team is just a group of individuals that are working on themselves,
yeah.
you know, and it's okay to, you know, speak about it, but it's like people say, why don't you just leave the team? Why don't you just kind of separate yourself from these people?
Mm,
I mean, everyone has their own reasons, and you don't know because the
exactly.
fact is you only know a very small portion of someone's life, especially online, compared to the full story.
Yeah. And your experience with the team could be different to that other person.
Yeah,
And
no,
yeah,
there's
it's
so
like
much just
in that
went
Twit
on
longer.
this last week.
Hmm?
Yeah, the Twitter longer as well.
Yeah, what you shared in that Twit longer. If you want to share,
Mhm.
that's up to you. But
I mean, I don't mind. I can pretty much to summarize. I said, I didn't leave the team, because the that's sort of a help in the real world, and that's what a lot of people don't understand is behind the screen, behind that profile that you set up when you like make a Twitter account or any other social media
mm,
account for that fact is someone there's just someone it's just someone in the real world somewhere around the world, and obviously I'm DevilFUT online, but obviously in the real world Declan, that's my name.
It's a cool
Uh,
name.
it's a name that it's a name that I'm not a big fan of. I don't know why. It just sounds weird to
It's
say.
unique though.
Um,
Unique.
it is. It's not something you hear a lot, and it's the main reason for staying in the team. And again, I said this at the end of the Twitter longer that I made is graphic design was a hobby. It became a job. Started earning from it, and I mean, it might be better if I just pull it up to be honest, because I'm stumbling over my words. Let me find the end of it. Uh, I said, unlike some of the community who may still live with their parents and not have to worry about finances and etc., I have a lot of responsibility in my life outside of social media. I discovered that graphic design is a way to escape and remain productive at the same time. That later turned into something I could do and earn from. Last year, we were almost homeless due to family issues. I stepped in, and at 20 years of age, I'm looking after my mum and my two sisters, doing housework, making meals, and pretty much being a full-time carer to my family. Shit is tough and stressful. I do designs, and any extra money stroke commission I make goes towards the essentials we may need for our home slash family. And doing work for 2am gives me a little extra every month to provide for my family, and my family will always come before my reputation. And that last little sentence, how my family comes before my reputation, means even though I'm in 2am, 2am's getting all this hate, I'm still getting paid for doing work for 2am, and that goes
Respect
towards
that.
my family, which
Yeah.
means the absolute most to me, you know?
Yeah,
It
it's
means the
good that
absolute
you're getting
most.
paid for your work.
Hmm. I know that's a very touchy subject in itself, and a lot of players have left because payouts and stuff like that. That's a
Mm.
lot of stuff
But I'd
that's
like to
where it
argue
gets complicated.
maybe because of the car crash affected Subway's payouts.
I didn't know how that affected things because obviously there's more than one person on management, but I didn't ask either. Like obviously, I hope he's well. And I hope that the community still has enough human decency that despite all the hate for him and stuff, they still would think that that's still a person. You know, he was in a
Thing
car
is, they probably
crash.
don't. Probably don't.
Yeah, no, 100%. I don't think they do. I don't think they
They're
do.
just looking for an excuse now at this point
Yeah,
to get riled up, and it's a really big issue. The I mean, the Fortnite scene in general is quite toxic. So
yeah, no, 100%. It's crazy the amount of stuff I've seen, and that's not just towards Subway, but the stuff
yeah,
that Jeff gets is so it's so disgusting, and obviously it was something that I mentioned. Um, Jeff gets a lot of stuff brought up, like when he said the R word or even his sexual assault. That's you don't bring that up. That's a sensitive
exactly.
subject. That's
Yeah,
traumatic, and that's part of Jeff's life outside of his social media life. It's not for other people to bring it up, and I don't think it would have got the media attention if that it got if he wasn't an extra, and obviously everything that had happened.
yeah.
That's traumatic. That's a traumatic event that he had to live through, and obviously it happens to people. It happens to a lot of people,
Mm.
but the problem is, you know, people like still experience that trauma after it's happened, but
Yeah.
that's also with it being offline and nobody knowing about it online. If that gets onto social media and you're already a big influencer, that's going to be passed
Mm.
around so much more.
Something I don't understand about what people are saying about 2am though is I don't really get that people are saying like, oh, how did they get so and so numbers? How did they get so and so numbers? The thing is, right, they do have Jeff on the team, a guy who was on Extra, sponsored by Razer, was on Drama Alert. There's a lot of reasons why, if 2AM wanted, could pull those numbers. You know what I mean?
Hmm. Yeah, I think
Like,
it's
don't get me
very.
wrong. There's stuff that I haven't agreed with what Jeff has done. Some stuff that affected me, mainly money stuff, but I don't care too much, and I've kind of forgiven him and left it in the past, and it's cool now. But
Hmm.
regardless of that, it's yeah, it's just weird that people can go, oh, they can't get those numbers, but maybe they can because he's got 103K on like Insta, and you know,
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely a big name when he was an extra.
mm,
Obviously, stuff happened with extra, and extras no longer. But
yeah,
I dare say 2 a.m. generates the hate that it gets because people just like to jump on that train, you
True.
know. And I feel like you'd know about 2 a.m. because of what's bad about it rather than what could be good about it.
I think a lot of this
Um,
hate is caused by just salty people who've been kicked from the team, especially.
yeah, I see
They're
that a
just looking
lot.
for a reason.
There's like I see it from former members, and that's another reason why I had to address it in a separate Twitter longer months ago.
Hmm. I think
You
I've
know,
seen that
I
one. I
I
remember
like
now.
to support people because I get to know them as individual creators rather than just part of a team.
Hmm.
Um, I'm not gonna obviously name names, but there is people that I still support that are no longer into AIM Esports that still like to
You
like
can say
address
names.
that hate.
Say names if
I
you want.
mean, I'm trying to think. There's a few times that all I see on the timeline. Obviously, you already addressed somebody. Uh,
Nah. Hatsu.
yeah. Uh, I think one of the people that I've seen and always talking about 2 a.m. is Huber.
The thing is
It
about
was.
Huber
Mm,
is he had this whole thing about what's it called? He was like suffering from like depression and everything. And wasn't 2am trying to help him or something?
I mean, I think from what I heard, Jeff did, try and get him help. It was it was something. I think what got him kicked was something that he put on the timeline. It was
Oh.
it was intent that he was going to, you know,
Hmm.
uh, pretty much off himself, which isn't something to one share online at all. Two, it's
No, well,
obviously we want
okay.
that support.
Okay.
We do if it's a cry for help, like that's that's something else. That's a touchy subject because of there's two different sides to this. There's yes, we want you
Hmm.
to let it be known so that you can get that help, but at the same time, the way it's sort of the way it was addressed, I don't think was very.
I think to
I
be
don't know
honest,
what it
I
was.
think he didn't deserve to get kicked for that.
I
In all
don't know if that's
fairness.
I don't know if that's what got him kicked. I'm not too sure what got him kicked, but I know that soon after that happened, I think he was then kicked from the team. Um, I don't know specifically what got him kicked. But I know he's obviously one name that I see talking about 2 a.m. a lot. Every time 2 a.m. comes up, something happens. I feel he's always
I
one of the
never see
first
him.
to jump on
I
that.
never see him. I see Spoonsky a lot. But
I
like
think it's because I think it's because I
it's cool.
still follow him.
Hmm.
I still follow him. I still follow people that used to be a part of it.
Yeah.
I did state in that Twitter longer that if there was still a lot of hate generated, from certain people that used to be into AM, I'd obviously probably need to unfollow just
Hmm.
because there's hating and then there's just
Yeah.
you know making it every tweet that you make essentially it is a hate tweet. Um, there are like I spoke to Huber a few times. I jumped in a few streams and
Yeah.
I've not unfollowed him because I still want to support him. I just don't know where we stand, especially because I've still got 2 a.m. in my name, and that comes with a lot of you know, that obviously if he's got a hate for 2 a.m., does that mean that his hate goes beyond just the org itself or any member that joins? You know, it's
It's
like
a
when I
touchy
see,
subject. Can't lie.
yeah, no, 100%, 100%. I see people joining 2 a.m. and there's all the like welcome comments, and then there's the either former members or just people that know of 2 a.m. and just hate a lot in those replies, and I feel like it's risky joining the team because you know what you're signing yourself up for because
Hmm.
of that sort of attention that 2 a.m. gets.
To be honest, everyone says, "Oh, 2am's gonna die next week, this week, last week, this month." And the thing is, like, even after every controversy, I'm not trying to like stick up for the team, but they do so well to recover every single month. They still get new players. I don't know how they do it, but I'm
No,
impressed.
I don't know how. Like, obviously, I don't know how. Obviously, I do my part. I do the designs, in chats and stuff like that. I don't know how like to keep going because that hate is very overwhelming.
For me, I'd be done
Obviously,
like straight away,
yeah.
man. I've
I
had
don't think
similar
on a
hate,
personal
and I was like,
level, if I could get that, the fact that they still kind of push through and make it work is, crazy.
yeah,
Um, I know on a personal level, I'd be just very overwhelmed. But
hmm,
I think a lot of people are so fixated on watching 2 a.m. fall.
kind of scary, kind of weird as
It
well.
is,
Especially,
it is.
now I made a tweet saying, "What's it called? I don't want to join the org anymore. It's just I just want to see 2 a.m. fail. That's his
Mhm.
goal in life." I'm like, what the fuck?
I mean, if
Like,
you're gonna make that your life goal, I
pretty
think
sad.
I think you need to, you know,
Yeah,
take a look and see really what you're doing.
exactly.
If that's a life goal, then you're just so fixated on praying a downfall on someone else's success.
Yeah,
It's not right.
I'll tell you something, right? The whole time in Oasis, like, I'll tell you the reason why I even removed him from the team because he just kept talking about 2 a.m. like non-stop. And I
Mhm.
kept saying, "Bro, stop! You need to stop. You need to stop caring, man." And he just wouldn't listen. And yeah, no
Yeah,
one
I mean,
is gonna want to hang around with someone who just keeps crying about some previous team. You know what I mean?
I think you've got to be responsible and not let it bother you. If you're no longer, if it's chosen that you're no longer on a team, then
Exactly.
take your bags and go. You can't really change that, so why stay fixated on the past? But I mean, it's not right, and I've seen multiple people come and go. It's just it's I don't know. I don't really know like who's staying, who's gone. Like for all I know, people that are in the team right now, it looks like a strong connection. Like there is people in a team. It's like they
Yeah.
interact, they do the stuff. But like for all tomorrow you could wake up and they're no longer in the team.
Mm,
And that's why I was kind
scary
of shocked
prospect.
because yeah, I was kind of shocked. I was very, I was always supporting people like Fahid and Trey and stuff like that. When I seen they'd left, it was like wow, like that's I didn't think they'd ever sort of leave. But there's stuff that goes on that even I don't see, you know. And that's obviously that's because I'm not part of the management, and I know the management's been under question.
Hmm.
Um, but I mean, they obviously that's between the player and the management to negotiate their terms. I suppose that's not for any other member's business.
I think the thing is though, people need to learn with esports teams. I think some parts of 2am are being run well, but the thing is, because everything else is on fire, those parts are like, oh, well, they're getting rid of X, Y, and Z. That means some bad team. You know what I mean? Like,
Mm,
I think it's a bit stupid that a lot of people are crying about people leaving because 2am it's like a real job. And in the real world, right, if you get fired, right, you can't just try and cancel your job. You know what I mean? It's the
yeah,
same thing.
you can't prey on a downfall of somewhere you used to work
Exactly.
because
People need to
that's
treat
not
it
how it
more like
works.
a workplace.
I think because it is social media, not many people are going to take it as serious as if you've got a real
Hmm.
job. Because a lot of the people on Twitter and in the community and stuff like that aren't actually old enough to work. I don't think. I don't know when it is you can work. I know it's different, but I don't think half of the people in the community have worked or have experience working,
See, that's the thing.
so
I
they
don't
don't
think.
know.
I don't think people under the age of 16 should be on an esports team.
Hmm.
I think a lot of these people like aren't mature enough, and yeah,
Yeah,
point
no, it
blank.
makes sense. And I suppose maturity is that's something that I've kind of looked at, and I suppose there's still people that I know that are pretty old. They're old enough. Like at the start of the year, I had a whole argument with someone that was like 9 years older than me, but like there was no sense of maturity in that, like anything they done, and I think it's 100% fact that maturity is more defined by someone's experience rather than it is how old they are. And
I
I,
do
I just
agree,
don't know
but
whether that.
the older the person, the more chance of life experiences. They're,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
guess, they're just an anomaly in a sense.
Mm.
So
I
it's
do I
not.
do see that.
Huh?
It can vary. It can vary, I suppose. I do see what you mean.
Hmm.
There is a chance, the older you are, the more experience you have.
Yeah,
But I feel there's some that maybe don't get the same experience as
this is true.
someone else. Um, I mean, it's another controversial topic with different pros and cons. But I feel like a lot of the community are immature,
Yes, very
just
so. A lot of
just
them
very
overreact.
yeah, yeah. A lot. I do feel like a lot of them are very immature, and obviously, give it a few years, maybe they'll grow up a little bit and
I doubt it.
see. Well, maybe as a person, I don't know more so about
Mm,
online because who someone is online can differ from who they are in real life. You know,
this is true.
I don't think that some people have the same responsibility or have the same what's the word I'm looking for? They don't have the same front as they have in real life compared to online because
Mm,
online it's like they're undetected almost. It's like,
it's
oh,
true.
I can say all this stuff, and if I'm behind a different account that doesn't reveal any personal information, then I'm free to just say whatever I want.
I think the thing is, a lot of people nowadays are the same as they are online.
Mm, yeah,
Like
I
I
mean,
think the the lines are getting blurrier and blurrier every day. Right?
I mean,
It's very
yeah,
close to reality nowadays.
hmm
The only difference is the screen. A lot of people have their face as a profile picture nowadays.
hmm I feel like in this community, depends what kind of audience. If it's like a Fortnite community, for example, I see like the same theme. Maybe not like the face is the profile picture, but there's like a
Hmm.
theme to every sort of community. If you're gonna attract like a Fortnite community, it's gonna be either like a Fortnite skin or an anime
True.
account or something. Whereas if you're looking at a different community, um, I don't know what Valorant community is like, but I feel like there is separate sort of things that pretty much tell you what this account is. If you see uh an anime profile picture, that could be anything on Twitter.
Hmm. True. Yeah. Anyway, moving on from 2 a.m. A very long subject indeed,
Mm,
but a subject that did need to be addressed to many people about the toxic ways of the internet.
mm,
But
no,
nonetheless,
definitely.
I want to know about the future of Devil. What do we have planned? Tell us.
I mean, it's hard. It's hard to look into the future, because right now, I mean, I'm happy into AM esports. If we're talking like the esports side of things.
Yeah.
At the same time, I mean, I do have that option to leave. Obviously, I'm not. I don't want to take that option yet. But say I wanted to stay in 2 a.m. That that's a 50-50. That's either in my hand or that's in the
Hmm.
hands of Jeff, essentially, now that he's sort of managing the team. If Jeff doesn't want me in the team, I'm not gonna leave the team and then talk shit and then just be an
Right,
online
take him
troll.
down. Come on,
You
man.
know,
You got to, man.
I'm not gonna
Join
be
my
that
hate
guy.
group.
There's so many of those types of people, and
Hmm.
I'm not the type of person to hold a grudge. So,
I
as
respect
in
that.
terms of like a future, I can't really tell you that my future lies with 2 a.m. If it's a personal choice, I can tell you that. But if Jeff
Hmm.
doesn't want me and he finds like someone else to take my place, then Fed does. I don't see right now. I don't see me joining any other esports team because I kind of ended up here by coincidence.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't looking for a team. I was very new to the whole
Yeah.
like esports scene. Don't get me wrong, it's been it's been fun. You know, I've it's been very good on a personal level because you've been able to design for big names. You've been recognized
True.
by big names. If Jeff obviously wants me in the team, then I'll stay in the team. If at
Mm.
some point he decides, that your time is up at 2 a.m., then fair enough, hang your
Yeah.
boots and leave. And then still, support from a distance.
It's like a real job,
Because,
and you treat it like
yeah,
that. I
yeah, pretty
respect it.
much. But
Mm.
yeah, I definitely feel, my future in esports would be 2 a.m. or no team. That's how I see it right now. Just because
Interesting.
I don't physically see like unless I get approached, I'm not looking.
Hmm.
I think that's the
Someone
best way to
recruit
summarize.
him.
Fuck it, Oasis Devil. I don't know, man.
Anyway, that brings me on to my last question. Top
Okay.
clients. Tell us about your top clients,
Oh,
your biggest
uh,
clients.
does this go by recognition, even if it wasn't
Yeah.
directly asked for?
Yeah.
I think the biggest, obviously, this is all this year. This is
Mm.
like obviously I've been
Yeah,
approached
that's
this
cool.
year after joining 2 a.m. Um, in terms of biggest clients, uh, I'd have to say, I mean, I was approached by Phase Sway at one point.
Oh
I think it was
shit.
a few
Damn.
days ago.
Fucking hell.
That
Nice one,
was
man.
that was at first that was a competition that I'd done, and there was like a competition that he ran pretty much, and it was like the best settings sort of themed thumbnail. I'd done a design for that, and I published it. He's seen it. He liked it. It didn't get picked as the winner, but I also had Classify uh, mention it, say there was one clear winner here. Even if I didn't get picked, he even commented under Faceway's competition and said, you know, this is like this delivers what you're asking for, and it's not too much. So that was a good feeling,
That's
you
cool.
know.
That is
Even
so
if I
cool.
didn't win, I don't mind not winning if that's the case, you know. But Faceway and Classify noticed,
Wow,
um,
those are some nice names. Some
and
big
then I
names out
think
there.
the only other thing that was quite a shock was when Jeff asked me to do a 2 a.m. themed banner for Batman Booger before they picked him up.
Hmm.
That was fucking daunting. I was I was actually pissing myself. I didn't know I didn't know what to do, and then I seen his current one and tried mixing it with some purple and 2 a.m. theme and few textures and stuff, and I managed to make one that they both liked. So it's very daunting to do stuff for big names because you don't want to unimpress.
Yeah.
But they're definitely up there, like especially considering that this is all new, like clients this year.
Well, so far, that's very impressive. Very impressive, man.
It's
A
been
lot
it's
of
been
people would
wild.
dream of that. So, yeah, man.
It's been crazy, man.
Hmm. And to work for a team like 2 a.m., 2 a.m., I know a lot of people hate it. It's quite big, so quite nice to be on a team like that.
Yeah, it's it's a big team,
And
and
they have a Twitch
obviously
team.
there's
They have a Twitch team.
yeah, I'm on
That's
the
actually
Twitch
quite cool.
team. The graphic designer made it to the Twitch team, man.
That's great, man.
Streaming's one thing I don't do enough. I don't think. Um,
You want to
but I
stream
made it.
more?
I made it to the Twitch team. 100%, 100%.
Hmm.
It's. I feel like it's better. You know, I think if there's anybody who's kind of debating, going into the content creating and stuff, if they can,
Yeah,
probably try and make their name for streaming because you can make Twitch VODs and streaming
this
stuff.
is true.
You can make that content, so you don't need to record separate content when the content comes to you and there's a live interaction audience.
Exactly.
I do want to do that more. I do want to sort of do that more, but obviously real life stuff. You're busy in real life. You're stressed. You're doing so much in real life that you might not always get the time, or you might not always have the energy to jump on Twitch and live stream
Yeah.
for a few hours.
Yeah, that makes sense. Anyway, that brings us to our last questions for you. Have you thought of 3 questions to ask me?
Uh, can I ask?
Oh boy.
Wait, is it any questions?
Just any questions, man?
Any
Well,
questions at all?
yeah.
Oh Jesus!
Could be
Can you give me
about
some
content
topics to
creation,
work with? All
Oasis,
right,
Blue
okay.
Skirmish, 2 a.m., anything. Try and keep it towards like super phase,
Esports.
not J, but yeah.
Ah, Jesus. Personal questions, man. These are difficult to think of. Uh, oh damn. You've got both my only 2 brain cells working at the same time.
New one activated.
Uh, my brain cells are asleep. Damn, 3 questions? I can't even think of one.
Ah, man.
Oh no. Wait, can I pass my questions on and give someone like the next person 6 questions?
No.
Nah, fuck.
poor, poor guy, man.
Nah.
I'll
Okay,
give you some
come on,
time,
I
man.
can think of questions. Yeah, I need to. Thinking on the spot. I know I've had an hour, but my head's been obviously thinking other things at the same time.
Get that.
Uh,
Could be about Team Oasis, Blue Skirmish, Crimson Rights. Could be about Dusk XYZ, 2 a.m. Um, regardless, streaming, etc.
okay, I've got this. Okay, I've got a question for you.
Okay. Does he?
What are
Anytime
your
now.
goals? Okay, I'm thinking, man. It's processing. I'm thinking, man. What are your goals for Team Oasis and the whole podcast scene in 2023?
The whole podcast scene.
Well, obviously, podcast. This is what this is episode 5. You
Yeah.
know,
Mm-hmm.
is there any big names you want to get on the podcast next year? Because I assume with very little time left in this month,
This is true.
it's very hard to schedule people in,
Hmm.
especially this time of year as well. Is there any big names you
Well,
want
I made
to?
I made a joke about the podcast being monthly. It's meant to be weekly, but
Yeah.
it's quite a struggle finding guests. And it would be nice to get a few more on the podcast.
Who's been on it so
Mm,
far? I'm number 5, right?
so we've had Dunway,
I know
who was the
Spoonsy's
owner
been
of
on it.
Cider. We've had Spoonsy. We've had Diallo, who became the caster of Blue Skirmish. Quite
Mhm.
cool. And then we've got Intercept, who's a former Oasis member. And then we've got you. And so, wouldn't mind having Jeff, but this time, if you're watching this, okay, don't ask me to pay you to be on the podcast.
I was gonna
Please, man.
say, would you have Jeff or
Yeah,
Subway?
man. Yeah, for real. Sure, why not?
I mean, I suppose I'm only talking from my point of view, when it
Hmm.
comes to everything that's happened at 2 a.m. so far. But obviously, maybe sometime in the future, if they would be down to it, then maybe
Why
even,
not?
I don't know. Has there ever been a podcast, a Team Oasis podcast with 2 people on at the same time?
Yeah, it has been.
Maybe Jeff and Subway. I know
Hmm.
Subway's sort of stepped down from management, but
Yeah.
he's still obviously a very hot topic that people
Yeah, he's
aren't really
floating
putting
around,
down.
so sure.
You know.
Yeah. Yeah. Any 2am member is welcome on the Team Oasis podcast, of course.
Oh god,
And
there's an invite
that goes,
to every single
yeah.
every single person on the 2 a.m. roster.
Mm-hmm.
Fuck it, let's
I
get you all in here.
when I when I joined 2am, I tried to get Jeff to make a podcast, and just the plan was to rebrand Team Oasis Podcast, but
Mm-hmm.
he wasn't like too keen on that at the time. And then he made After Hours. He can thank me for the podcast idea later, but regardless, right? Um, yeah, it's yeah. I kind of
I
wish
think it'd be
I was
interesting to
the
see.
host of After Hours, but yeah.
I think
But
it,
regardless, how's that
it
going?
would be.
After Hours, the podcast, 2 a.m. They started that yet?
I've not actually seen anything of that just yet because
Hmm.
I know there was a picture. I do remember. I think Trey was in it, and maybe was it Nozzy or Kika? I don't know who was in it. There was a picture going around, and there was supposed to be like a podcast. I don't know where
Yeah.
it's at right now. Um, I don't know if it
Okay.
started. So I assume it's not because I feel like I would have heard about it.
Mm,
Um,
okay, that's fair. So I was thinking back then, if it was a 2 a.m. podcast, I might have been able to get even more guests on the show. Maybe even do
yeah.
it weekly. But yeah, I do want to get some more Zyder members. I'm not sure if you've heard of Team Zyder, but they were quite a big team last year. But yeah,
Mhm. I think it'd be very interesting to see other people's sort of perspectives,
on
even more so on the whole social media and the whole Twitter community thing.
this is
You
true.
know, because that's pretty big considering that a lot of
Mm,
people that maybe come on here are very sort of influential on Twitter, whether it
yep,
be because they're part of an esports team or whatever. But I feel like the Twitter community is the same no matter what professionalizing. Um, but I think it would be interesting to see Jeff and Subway, or even separately on like Team Oasis
mm,
podcast, just to see what they could
true.
kind of say. Because if you've got the questions,
Yeah,
it's I
feels like a very
suppose
big episode. But yeah,
yeah,
I'd be down for that. Sure.
that would be interesting. It's better to hear it from them
Mm.
themselves because they
I
essentially
think
made 2 a.m.
owners on teams have a very interesting story to tell normally because they know what was going on fully. If you could tell a better story, because I feel like a lot of things about the internet, it gets kind of like, I guess, blurred, and a lot of people like to twist the story. So it'd be nice to
Yeah.
know what they thought was going to happen. So
Hmm. I mean,
normally,
not just
because
that, but like
talking from
the owners
experience,
making it.
normally, you don't plan for this stuff to happen. Like you're not trying to get people to hate you, of
Yeah.
course. But
I
yeah,
mean, it's something that just it just spawns in. It just out of nowhere. It's just there.
exactly.
Not everybody's gonna agree with what you do. There's always gonna be people that bring you down for things you do, things you're a part of.
Yep,
It's not something that you'll ever be able to avoid.
it's true. Anyway, second question. Your second wish.
Ooh.
Can't wish for more questions.
I don't want to wish for more questions, man. I wish for a few more brain cells. uh, right. So that first question was, what other members or other people on the podcast?
Yeah, you've done that one.
Yeah. So second question would be perhaps goals for Team Oasis,
Team Oasis, like
or
team
like the
or the company. Which one?
uh both. Bigger
Okay.
question.
Well, team doesn't exist anymore. I'm making a
Mm-hmm.
documentary in February. It's gonna be 15
Yeah.
episodes. Probably a bad idea, so if it doesn't appear, I'd probably change my mind. But
Can I ask
15
why it
episodes,
could be a bad
and each
idea?
episode will be 30 minutes long.
Oh wow, that's a long documentary.
There's a lot of content, man. There's a lot of content. And I want people to know the true story. Okay, because just like 2 a.m., I feel like a lot of people blur the story. But yeah,
I mean, there's
and see, Oasis was hacked. It used to be slightly bigger on
yeah.
social media. So, and it's a shame, but I think kind of like hindered our ability to grow as an esports team. Went down to 0 followers. We got hacked straight to 0 followers. That sucked.
Damn, that's when you know you've made it, is when someone has to hack you and then just
Exactly, man.
someone has to
This
hack you
was
and get rid of
over,
the competition.
and the reason why I know about what's it called, salty people, taking you down because you kicked them, was because
hmm
this was caused after me kicking someone for underperforming in Fortnite.
Really?
And yep, yep,
What the?
exactly, man. This guy plays in a
That's
contender cup, and he thought he was good. And now he made a big deal about it, and now he's not even playing Fortnite. So he did all that for nothing, and now he's playing Valorant. What was the
oh
point in that?
no. That's
But yeah,
that's not good looks.
exactly, man.
That is peak pettiness.
Exactly. It's crazy, man. Which is
That's
why
wild.
I'm making a documentary.
That'll be interesting to see that drop in February.
Mm,
I do kind of want to see it. You know, I maybe
yeah.
don't change your mind and not drop it. I don't know how
It's
much.
it's a dangerous game. Okay, listen. I kind of don't want to have to deal with. Okay, they call themselves the exiles. Okay, I kind of don't want to have to deal with them again because they are a pain. But yeah,
Oh, so this goes further. This goes beyond me.
mm,
That's wow.
yeah. Well, these are like some like tales or something, some kind of like ghost stories. That's
Yeah.
what it reminds me of. But like these are not good people.
Well, I hope
So
you do
take away,
still drop it,
take
but you
2
know.
a.m. Ex 2 a.m. members and just make them slightly worse. That's the exiles. Well,
Oh
the
no.
Oasis exiles. And regardless of that, what's it called? Another thing is the company itself. We currently have a good brand that's growing decently right now. It's called Blue Skirmish. It's a tournament
I have
page.
seen
We
that.
do Valorant tournaments. You should sign up.
I have seen that. I've been more
3v2
into
tournaments.
Valorant lately than I have Fortnite actually.
Mm,
That's that's
yeah.
that's uh that's a obviously there's a fine line between Fortnite pros switching to Valorant because
Mm,
of the state of Fortnite.
this is true. And yeah, it's a 2v2 Valorant tournament, and you win £10 if you win. But yeah,
Damn.
we've done and we like to mix up sometimes. Sometimes we like ban maps and stuff for the tournament. Like one tournament we did split only. But yeah, when it was banned, of course.
Ah,
It was quite cool.
bring back Split.
And the cool thing about our tournament is that you can only play on one site that we choose for each map.
Oh, so it's like custom, like beyond custom. You can set the rules
We can't
essentially.
set the restrictions. We'll just ban you if you play on the wrong side of the map. But we put it like in fine print
Ah,
so
got
everyone
you.
knows.
Yeah, no, no.
Yeah, on the Blue Skirmish website says.
hmm
But we are doing a new tournament soon, and it's our special one. It's a very big one, and it's called Snow Skirmish 2022. It starts in January 8th, but that's because it got delayed. And it's basically £100 prize pool. Well,
hmm
135, but £100 prize. So yeah, stay tuned for
Damn.
that. Gonna be a good. And the production on Blue Skirmish is growing rapidly. We've just hit affiliate on Twitch for Blue Skirmish.
Nice. Congrats. That's what we love to hear.
Exactly, man.
That's one step closer to partner.
Yep, said it. And I'm going to be investing £300 into Blue Skirmish this month into new overlays for a tournament. It's gonna be
Holy shit.
amazing.
This is wild. This is like full on like esports.
Yep.
I mean, I suppose you got to invest to,
Mm.
you know,
And
get
our
from it if that
production
makes
team
sense.
is just crazy. Like the caster, he knows it all. Diallo, which is episode 3. If you want, you can check the episode out later. But back to this, he knows a lot about tournaments, and before I didn't, but he's taught me so much. And we brought his friend on about a few weeks ago, and
Mhm.
God, it's going so well. Just the 3 of us, man. Like the tournament is going places. And Tatsu goes, oh, you know, mediocre results and stuff. But the thing is, like, I'm quite happy with the results so far. In only 8 weeks,
Mhm.
we've got a good start. On Challenger mode, we have 768 members. And it grows
Jesus.
every week by like 90. So,
That's some
doing
good
well.
growth.
Mm-hmm.
That's what you
Twitter
need.
is where it needs to grow, to be honest. But other than that, yeah. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Do you want to hit 10 episodes soon and get episodes out weekly rather than monthly
Mm.
though? For Team Oasis
Yeah.
Podcasts. And I'm working on a new brand to protect creators from, how do I describe it? Wrongful
I think I've seen this.
organizations, crimson rights.
I did see this.
Yeah.
I did see this.
Hmm. There'll be a small fee, but as the organization grows, we'll be able to influence more and more orgs and create a better change in the community
Yeah.
and do it the right way without having to counsel people. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
I think that is a much better way. It's a union, basically. Yeah, but for esports.
Standing up for what's right, man.
Exactly. But yeah, that's basically it for now.
Yeah. On the grow, man. On the grow.
Third question. Do this.
The third and final question. Come on, brain. One more question. You can do this.
Any minute.
I'm not good at picking questions, man.
That's fair. To be honest, I should have
Uh,
gave you a little bit of time.
yeah, I'd literally just found out we were doing questions like
Yeah,
as
I
soon as we
completely
started.
forgot, man.
uh, okay, okay. I got a question. This is about your new um your new path, I suppose we could call it. What I don't know if there was like a specific story in particular, but what inspired you to start this Crimson Rise?
Good
Was
question.
there was there a a certain a certain thing? And obviously, I know there's I know there's quite a lot of drama that unfolds on the Twitter timeline, and
Yeah,
there's probably a lot
it's
you could have
exactly
picked
that.
out.
So, there's a lot of drama on Twitter every single day. And there's just random false bits of information just spewed everywhere. And it's
Hmm.
messy. I want to clean up the timeline, basically.
Yeah, no, that's good. I respect that. I respect that. It's I mean I suppose that's what's important, especially doing stuff like this, is giving everybody a voice. Um,
Exactly.
And
Crimson rights because your rights matter.
there we go. You got a slogan right there, man. You're already flying, man. I do see a lot on the timeline, and I think the really bad thing about that is it's always two sides to a story, and if you
This
put
is
both
true.
together, they don't add up. There's
It's like a
always
jigsaw puzzle.
exactly, yeah. There's always two sides to the story, and they don't add up. Um, and sometimes there's small bits of information that get left out that really change the whole story.
Exactly.
Um, Obviously, I see a lot of drama on Twitter. There's always debates and
It's
replies,
quite
and
depressing to see it.
it's
It really
very it's
it wants to take me off Twitter whenever I see that stuff.
yeah. There's a whole thread of arguments and people get involved, and it's nothing to do with them, and that's a massive thing on Twitter.
This is true.
I suppose finding a solution to fixing people's problems so that both parties are happy and they can keep that behind
Exactly.
closed doors and not for everybody else to view on Twitter.
Because Crimson rights, it's not just for people, it's also for orgs. That's the plan. A balance, you
I
know what
like
I'm
that.
saying?
It is good. It's a good idea. It's a good door to open, especially in this industry, I suppose.
It's summer 2023. Stay tuned. Yes.
You heard it here first. No leaks.
And I think that's it. Devil, how was your stay?
Man, I've been comfortable. I've been open. It's been a good time.
That's great, man.
I definitely rate you 5 stars.
Really is a hotel.
Yeah, yeah. Thank you for keeping me at the Team Oasis in. It's been fun.
Oh my. Anyway, man, that was our amazing guest, Devil. We hope you enjoyed the episode. We'll see you on the next episode. And that was me, Superphase. See you on episode 6 sometime soon. Goodbye for now.